Introduction: the essence of the practicing mind. In a world obsessed with outcomes, instant gratification, and the pursuit of perfection, Thomas M. Sterner's The Practicing Mind offers a refreshing perspective. True peace, contentment, and empowerment come not from achieving goals, but from embracing the process of living itself. The book's central thesis is captured in its 3-sentence summary. Real peace and contentment in our lives come from realizing that life is a process to engage in, a journey down a path that we can choose to experience as magical. When we subtly shift toward both focusing on and finding joy in the process of achieving instead of having the goal, we have gained a new skill, and once mastered, it is magical and incredibly empowering. With deliberate and repeated effort, progress is inevitable. These ideas challenge the conventional mindset that happiness lies at the end of a goal, proposing instead that fulfillment is found in the present moment, in the deliberate and mindful engagement with the process. This exploration will dive deeply into the book's philosophy, unpacking its 5 big ideas, summarizing its key teachings, and offering practical applications for cultivating a practicing mind, a mindset that prioritizes process over product, presence over perfection, and intentional effort over fleeting results. Let's. The 5 big ideas, core principles of the practicing mind. The book distills its wisdom into 5 transformative ideas that serve as the foundation for a process-oriented approach to life. These ideas are not abstract philosophies, but practical tools for reshaping how we think, act, and experience the world. 1. Life is a magical journey. Real peace and contentment in our lives come from realizing that life is a process to engage in, a journey down a path that we can choose to experience as magical. At the heart of the practicing mind is the recognition that life is not a series of destinations, but a continuous process. Sterner argues that our cultural obsession with outcomes, whether it's landing the perfect job, achieving financial success, or mastering a skill, creates a cycle of dissatisfaction. We pin our happiness on future achievements, believing that someday we'll arrive at a state of fulfillment. Yet, this mindset keeps us perpetually chasing an elusive horizon. Sterner invites us to reframe life as a journey, one that can be infused with magic and meaning in every step. This shift requires us to let go of our fixation on results and instead find joy in the act of living. For example, when learning to play the piano, the traditional mindset focuses on mastering a piece or performing flawlessly. A process-oriented mindset, however, finds delight in the daily practice sessions, the feel of the keys, the gradual improvement in finger dexterity, the moments of discovery when a melody begins to take shape. By embracing the journey, we transform routine tasks into opportunities for growth and wonder. This idea is not about ignoring goals, but about redefining their role. Goals become rudders, guiding our direction, while the process becomes the true source of fulfillment. This perspective fosters resilience, as setbacks are seen not as failures, but as part of the journey. It also cultivates gratitude, as we learn to appreciate the present moment rather than deferring happiness to an uncertain future. 2. The power of process-oriented thinking. When we subtly shift toward both focusing on and finding joy in the process of achieving instead of having the goal, we have gained a new skill, and once mastered, it is magical and incredibly empowering. Sterner's second big idea emphasizes the transformative power of focusing on the process rather than the outcome. This shift is a skill that, once mastered, liberates us from the stress and anxiety that accompany goal-driven thinking. When we fixate on the end result, whether it's a promotion, a fitness milestone, or a creative project, we often experience frustration, impatience, and self-doubt. We judge our progress against an idealized outcome, which creates a sense of inadequacy. By contrast, a process-oriented mindset celebrates the small, deliberate actions that lead to progress. Sterner describes this as a practicing mind, a state of calm focus where we are fully present in the task at hand. For instance, a writer aiming to complete a novel might feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the project. By focusing on the process, writing 500 words each day, refining a single paragraph, or brainstorming ideas, the task becomes manageable and even enjoyable. The practicing mind is quiet, free of the mental chatter that compares our current state to our desired outcome. This skill is empowering because it puts us in control of our experience. We no longer depend on external validation or the achievement of a goal to feel satisfied. Instead, we find intrinsic joy in the act of doing. This mindset also fosters creativity, as it allows us to experiment without fear of failure. Mistakes become learning opportunities, and progress becomes a natural byproduct of consistent effort. 3. Mastering your thoughts. If you are not in control of your thoughts, then you are not in control of yourself. Sterner's third big idea underscores the importance of mental discipline. Our thoughts shape our reality, yet many of us allow them to run wild, driven by fear, doubt, or distraction. When we lack control over our thoughts, we become reactive, swept away by emotions or external circumstances. The practicing mind, however, is characterized by intentionality and awareness. Controlling our thoughts begins with mindfulness, observing our mental patterns without judgment. For example, when faced with a challenging task, we might notice thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," or "this is taking too long." Instead of letting these thoughts dictate our actions, we can choose to redirect our focus to the present moment. Sterner suggests asking ourselves, "What am I doing right now?" This simple question anchors us in the process, quieting the mental noise that pulls us away from our task. This idea has profound implications for personal growth. By mastering our thoughts, we gain agency over our emotions and behaviors. We become less susceptible to stress and more resilient in the face of adversity. This mental discipline also enhances our ability to stay process-oriented, as we learn to let go of unproductive thoughts about the past or future and focus on what we can control in the present. 4. The paradox of patience and discipline. A paradox of life. The problem with patience and discipline is that developing each of them requires both of them. Sterner's fourth big idea highlights a paradoxical truth. Patience and discipline are both the means and the end of personal growth. To develop patience, we must practice discipline, consistently choosing to stay calm and focused even when progress feels slow. To develop discipline, we must exercise patience, persisting through setbacks and resisting the urge to seek instant results. This paradox can feel daunting, but Sterner offers a practical solution. Start small. By breaking tasks into manageable steps and focusing on short, deliberate efforts, we build patience and discipline incrementally. For example, someone aiming to establish a meditation practice might begin with just 5 minutes a day. The discipline to sit consistently builds patience, as they learn to accept distractions without frustration. Over time, these small efforts compound, creating a virtuous cycle of growth. This idea reminds us that progress is not linear. There will be moments of struggle, but each deliberate effort strengthens our capacity for patience and discipline. By embracing this paradox, we cultivate a mindset that is resilient, adaptable, and committed to the long-term process of self-improvement. 5. Letting go of the myth of perfection. We erroneously think that there's a magical point that we will reach, and then we will be happy. The fifth big idea challenges the pervasive belief that happiness depends on reaching a state of perfection. Whether it's the perfect body, the perfect career, or the perfect life, We often imagine a future point where all our problems will be solved. This myth keeps us trapped in a cycle of striving, as we compare our current reality to an unattainable ideal. Stirner encourages us to redefine perfection as a process rather than a destination. He uses the metaphor of a flower, asking, at what point in a flower's life, from seed to full bloom, does it reach perfection? The answer is that perfection exists in every stage of the flower's journey, from the potential of the seed to the beauty of the bloom. Similarly, our lives are perfect in their unfolding, not in some final state. This perspective liberates us from the pressure to arrive at a perfect outcome. Instead, we learn to find contentment in the present moment, appreciating our efforts and progress as they are. This shift reduces anxiety and fosters a sense of equanimity, allowing us to approach life with curiosity and grace. The Practicing Mind, a comprehensive summary. The Practicing Mind is a guide to cultivating a mindset that finds joy, peace, and empowerment in the process of living. Stirner draws on his experiences as a musician, athlete, and parent to illustrate how a process-oriented approach can transform our relationship with work, relationships, and personal growth. Below is a detailed summary of the book's key teachings, organized around its core themes and practical strategies. Embracing the process, the foundation of the practicing mind. Stirner begins by challenging the cultural narrative that happiness lies in achieving goals. He argues that this outcome-driven mindset creates stress and anxiety, as we tie our self-worth to external results. Instead, he proposes that true contentment comes from embracing the process, the daily actions, efforts, and experiences that make up our lives. When we learn to focus on and embrace the process of experiencing life, whether we're working toward a personal aspiration or working through a difficult time, we begin to free ourselves from the stress and anxiety that are born out of our attachment to our goals, Stirner writes. This shift requires us to let go of the belief that happiness is conditional on reaching a specific outcome. For example, a student preparing for exams might feel overwhelmed by the pressure to achieve a high score. By focusing on the process, studying consistently, reviewing notes, and practicing problem solving, the student can find satisfaction in their efforts, regardless of the final grade. Stirner emphasizes that this mindset is not about abandoning goals, but about redefining their role. Goals serve as a rudder to steer our efforts, but the process is where we find meaning. This perspective allows us to approach challenges with curiosity and resilience, as we see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. The Practicing Mind, a state of calm focus. Central to Stirner's philosophy is the concept of the practicing mind, a state of mental clarity and presence. He describes it as quiet, with laser-like pinpoint focus and accuracy. In this state, we are fully engaged in the present moment, free from distractions, judgments, or anxieties about the future. Achieving the practicing mind requires deliberate effort and awareness. Stirner suggests several strategies for cultivating this mindset. Stay process-oriented. Focus on the task at hand rather than the desired outcome. For example, when exercising, concentrate on the sensation of movement rather than the number of calories burned. Live in the present. Let go of thoughts about the past or future. Stirner recommends asking, "What am I doing right now?" to anchor yourself in the moment. Make the process the goal. Shift your focus from achieving the end result to mastering the process. For instance, a painter might aim to enjoy the act of mixing colors and applying brushstrokes, rather than producing a perfect painting. Be deliberate. Approach tasks with intention and awareness. This means consciously choosing your actions and staying mindful of your purpose. These strategies create a sense of flow, where effort feels effortless and progress unfolds naturally. The The practicing mind is not about suppressing thoughts or emotions, but about directing them purposefully. By staying present and process-oriented, we channel our energy efficiently, reducing mental and physical fatigue. The role of habits and intentional practice. Stirner emphasizes that habits are the building blocks of progress. Habits are learned. Choose them wisely, he writes. By intentionally repeating specific actions, we can create positive habits that support our goals. For example, someone aiming to improve their writing might commit to writing 200 words each morning. Over time, this deliberate practice becomes a habit, requiring less effort and yielding consistent results. The key to effective practice is awareness and intention. Stirner distinguishes between practice and learning, noting that practice involves the deliberate repetition of a process with a specific goal in mind. This intentionality ensures that our efforts are purposeful and aligned with our aspirations. Stirner also addresses the importance of replacing negative habits with positive ones. He suggests starting with small, manageable changes and being patient with the process. For instance, to reduce procrastination, one might begin by setting a timer for 10 minutes of focused work each day. As this habit takes root, it becomes easier to extend the duration and tackle larger tasks. Overcoming the myth of perfection. One of the book's most powerful insights is its critique of the perfection myth. Stirner argues that our belief in a magical point of perfection creates unnecessary suffering. We imagine that happiness lies in achieving a flawless outcome, but this ideal is unattainable and constantly shifting. Our concepts of ideal and perfect are always changing, he writes, reminding us that what we consider perfect today may not hold the same value tomorrow. To overcome this myth, Stirner encourages us to adopt a flower-like perspective. Just as a flower is perfect at every stage of its growth, so too are we perfect in our unfolding. This mindset allows us to appreciate our efforts and progress without comparing ourselves to an idealized standard. Stirner also highlights the role of non-judgment in cultivating equanimity. Judging ourselves or our work creates mental noise that distracts us from the process. By practicing non-judgment, we quiet the internal dialogue and create space for clarity and creativity. For example, when learning a new skill, we might notice thoughts like, "I'm not improving fast enough." Instead of engaging with these thoughts, we can acknowledge them and return our focus to the task. The 4S words: simplify, small, short, slow. Stirner offers a practical framework for applying the practicing mind to any task, encapsulated in the 4S words: simplify, small, short, and slow. Simplify. Break tasks into manageable components. For example, instead of tackling an entire project, focus on one specific aspect, such as drafting an outline or researching a single topic. Small. Focus on small, incremental steps. Rather than aiming to write a book, commit to writing 1 page a day. Short. Set short time frames for your efforts. For instance, work on a task for 30 minutes before taking a break. Slow. Work at a pace that allows you to stay mindful and attentive. This deliberate slowness ensures that your actions are purposeful and effective. These principles make even the most daunting tasks feel achievable. By simplifying the process, focusing on small steps, working in short bursts, and moving slowly, we reduce overwhelm and build momentum. This approach also fosters patience, as we learn to trust that consistent effort will lead to progress. The paradox of patience and discipline. Stirner's exploration of patience and discipline is one of the book's most thought-provoking themes. He acknowledges the paradox that developing these qualities requires both of them, which can feel like a catch-22. However, he offers a reassuring perspective. All the patience you will ever need is already within you. To cultivate patience, Sterner suggests becoming aware of when impatience arises. Impatience is often a sign that we are not present, that our thoughts are racing toward the future or dwelling on the past. By noticing these moments and gently redirecting our focus to the present, we can develop greater patience over time. Discipline, meanwhile, is built through consistent, intentional effort. Sterner advises starting with small, achievable commitments and gradually increasing their scope. For example, someone aiming to exercise regularly might begin with a 10-minute walk each day. As this habit becomes ingrained, they can extend the duration or intensity of their workouts. The interplay of patience and discipline creates a powerful feedback loop. Each small act of discipline strengthens our patience, and each moment of patience reinforces our discipline. Over time, these qualities become second nature, enabling us to approach challenges with calm determination. Practical applications: living with a practicing mind. Sterner's teachings are not meant to remain theoretical. They are designed to be applied in everyday life. Below are some practical ways to incorporate the practicing mind into various aspects of your life. Work and productivity. Break large projects into smaller tasks and focus on completing one at a time. Celebrate the process of working, whether it's drafting a report or organizing your workspace. Learning new skills. Approach skill building with curiosity and patience. Instead of aiming for mastery, focus on daily practice and incremental improvement. Relationships. Practice presence in your interactions with others. Listen attentively, without planning your response or judging the conversation. Health and wellness. Set process-oriented goals, such as exercising for 20 minutes a day or preparing a healthy meal. Find joy in the act of caring for your body. Personal growth. Reflect on your thoughts and habits regularly. Ask yourself, am I staying process-oriented? Am I present in this moment? Sterner also encourages regular self-reflection to maintain a process-oriented mindset. He suggests pausing throughout the day to ask, am I practicing flower-like qualities and staying in the present with my thoughts and energies? This question serves as a gentle reminder to realign with the principles of the practicing mind. The joy of anticipation and effort. One of Sterner's most compelling insights is that the true joy of achieving a goal lies not in the moment of attainment, but in the anticipation and effort leading up to it. The real thrill of acquiring anything, whether it is an object or a personal goal, is your anticipation of the moment of receiving it, he writes. This anticipation is fueled by the stamina and patience we cultivate as we work toward our aspirations. By shifting our focus from the goal to the process, we fulfill our desires in every moment of effort. For example, someone saving for a dream vacation might find joy in the discipline of budgeting, the excitement of researching destinations, and the satisfaction of watching their savings grow. This mindset transforms the journey into a source of fulfillment, rather than a means to an end. The role of non-judgment and equanimity. Sterner's emphasis on non-judgment is a cornerstone of the practicing mind. He explains that judgment, whether of ourselves, others, or our circumstances, wastes energy and creates mental clutter. By practicing non-judgment, we cultivate equanimity, a state of even-temperedness and calm. Equanimity allows us to approach life with balance, unaffected by the highs and lows of external events. For example, when faced with criticism at work, a non-judgmental mindset enables us to evaluate the feedback objectively, without taking it personally. This clarity enhances our ability to learn and grow from the experience. Sterner suggests practicing non-judgment by observing our thoughts without attaching to them. When a negative thought arises, we can acknowledge it and let it pass, like a cloud moving across the sky. Over time, this practice quiets the mind and fosters a sense of inner peace. The inevitability of progress. The book's final message is one of hope and encouragement. With deliberate and repeated effort, progress is inevitable. Stirner reminds us that consistent, intentional action leads to growth, even if the results are not immediately visible. This principle applies to every area of life, from personal development to professional achievements. To maintain this momentum, Stirner advises setting clear intentions and staying committed to the process. He also emphasizes the importance of celebrating small victories, as these moments of recognition reinforce our motivation and confidence. Practical exercises for cultivating the practicing mind. To help readers integrate Stirner's teachings into their lives, here are a series of practical exercises designed to develop a process-oriented mindset. These exercises can be adapted to various goals and contexts, from personal development to professional growth. The 5-minute presence practice. Purpose. Train yourself to stay present and process-oriented. Instructions. Choose a simple task, such as washing dishes, writing a journal entry, or walking. Set a timer for 5 minutes and focus entirely on the process. Notice the sensations, movements, and details of the task. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the present. Reflect on how this focus affects your experience. Tip. Gradually increase the duration as you become more comfortable with presence. The 4S word challenge. Purpose. Apply the principles of simplify, small, short, and slow to a specific goal. Instructions. Identify a task or goal that feels overwhelming. Break it into smaller components. Simplify. Choose one small step to start with, small. Set a short time frame for working on it, short, and approach it with deliberate slowness, slow. For example, to declutter your home, focus on one drawer for 15 minutes, moving slowly to avoid overwhelm. Track your progress over a week and note how this approach reduces stress. Tip. Use a journal to document your experience and celebrate small wins. The non-judgment journal. Purpose. Practice non-judgment to quiet the mind. Instructions. At the end of each day, write down 3 moments when you notice judgmental thoughts, e.g., I'm not good at this, or this is taking too long. For each moment, reframe the thought in a non-judgmental way, e.g., I'm learning this skill, or I'm making progress. Reflect on how this practice affects your mindset. Tip. Pair this exercise with deep breathing to enhance relaxation. The patience pause. Purpose. Build patience by recognizing and redirecting impatience. Instructions. Throughout the day, notice when you feel impatient, e.g., waiting in line, dealing with a delay. Pause. Take 3 slow breaths and ask, what can I focus on in this moment? Shift your attention to the process, observing your surroundings, practicing gratitude, or engaging in a small task. Note how this pause shifts your emotional state. Tip. Carry a small notebook to jot down insights from these moments. The flower reflection. Purpose. Embrace the idea that you are perfect in your unfolding. Instructions. Spend 10 minutes reflecting on the flower metaphor. Write or think about a goal you're working toward, and consider how you are blooming in your current stage. List 3 ways you're growing, even if the progress feels small. Revisit this reflection weekly to reinforce a growth-oriented mindset. Tip. Visualize yourself as a flower to deepen the emotional impact of this exercise. Real-world examples. To illustrate the transformative power of the practicing mind, here are 3 hypothetical case studies that demonstrate how its principles can be applied in different contexts. Case study 1. Sarah, the aspiring entrepreneur. Sarah dreams of launching her own bakery, but feels overwhelmed by the challenges of starting a business. She's constantly worried about failing or not meeting her financial goals. After reading The Practicing Mind, Sarah decides to focus on the process. She simplifies her plan by breaking it into small steps, such as researching recipes, creating a business plan, and testing her baked goods with friends. She commits to working on one task for 30 minutes each day, moving slowly to ensure quality. By staying present and celebrating small milestones, like perfecting a cupcake recipe, Sarah finds joy in the journey. Over time, her confidence grows, and her bakery begins to take shape, fueled by her process-oriented mindset. Case Study 2. Michael, the stress professional. Michael is a project manager who feels constantly stressed by deadlines and expectations. He often judges himself harshly for not being productive enough. Inspired by the practicing mind, Michael starts practicing non-judgment and presence. He begins each workday by setting a clear intention, such as completing one section of a report. During meetings, he focuses on listening actively rather than worrying about outcomes. When he notices impatient thoughts, he pauses and redirects his attention to the present. These small changes reduce his stress and improve his performance as he approaches his work with clarity and calm. Case Study 3. Emma, the amateur runner. Emma wants to run a half marathon, but feels discouraged by her slow progress. She compares herself to faster runners and worries she'll never reach her goal. After applying the practicing mind, Emma shifts her focus to the process of training. She sets small goals, like running for 20 minutes 3 times a week, and works at a slow, comfortable pace to build endurance. She celebrates the joy of movement, feeling the breeze, hearing her footsteps, and noticing her strength improve. By letting go of perfectionism and embracing the journey, Emma not only completes her half marathon, but also discovers a lifelong love for running. Conclusion. The practicing mind is a timeless guide to living with intention, presence, and joy. Its core message, that true peace and empowerment come from embracing the process, offers a powerful antidote to the pressures of modern life. By cultivating a practicing mind, we learn to find meaning in every moment, to approach challenges with patience and discipline, and to let go of the myth of perfection. The book's 5 big ideas provide a roadmap for this transformation. 1. Life is a magical journey to be experienced, not a destination to be reached. 2. Focusing on the process is a skill that, once mastered, brings freedom and empowerment. 3. Controlling our thoughts is the key to controlling our lives. 4. Patience and discipline are paradoxical, but achievable through deliberate effort. 5. Happiness lies not in perfection, but in the unfolding of the present moment. Through practical strategies like the 4 S, words, non-judgment, and intentional practice, Stirner equips us to live with greater clarity and purpose. His teachings remind us that progress is inevitable when we commit to the process, and that every step forward is an opportunity to grow, learn, and find joy. As we navigate the complexities of life, the practicing mind invites us to pause and ask, am I practicing flower-like qualities? By staying process-oriented, present, and deliberate, we can transform our experiences, finding magic in the ordinary and fulfillment in the journey. With deliberate and repeated effort, we not only achieve our goals, but also discover a deeper sense of peace and contentment that transcends outcomes.